1, 2, 3, 4. Yay. Okay. So today I am going to watercolor. I did a piece the other day and sketched them, inked them, that kind of stuff. And then I wasn't sure what I was going to do for color. I wasn't going to shoot. I don't know. I'd done the other pieces that I had done them with marker. Went to some old school techniques, old Dory style. And so what I did the other day, so this piece, this is, I did not paint, watercolor, or whatever. This is the one I did in charcoal. This is the piece that accompanies a haiku in my series called, let me see, you can get up there. Kiss my heart softly with your delicious lips kiss while we plunge in deep. So that's the haiku, and this is the one singular image that is the illustration that will go in the series book for that. Then we have the series panel page that I did that basically illustrates the haiku as well. This is an example of what the page in the book actually looks like. So, I think I lost track of okay, so what I did is, I'll show you what I did. This is what I did the other day. Okay, so this is the other panel page for a separate haiku that illustrates the haiku. What I did, because I did this the other day online, showed my peoples, I had sketched it and inked it. And this is the original sketched and inked piece. And so I didn't know how I would like watercolors as opposed to markers, as opposed to maybe even trying my hand at digital coloring. So I got my watercolors out because much like the charcoal, I'm very comfortable with watercolors. It doesn't matter whether I'm using them on paper or canvas now. I've gotten pretty good at it. So what I did is I made a copy with the copier. This actually is me painted. I painted it on the copy for practice. I wanted to see what would it look like. Would I like the watercolors? So I like it. It really came out really, really good. Even just the painted piece, the way that you see it right here, scanned or photographed. I've tried a few things with it. I've done a few few digital manipulations, whatever. Even those I really like. Even just a regular scan of this particular page, the way it is, I like. So what I decided I would do then is, since I liked it so much and it came out so well, I would let you guys watch me paint this one. So, okay, so this is the original that I'm going to paint. Or I'm not going to paint the original, sorry. I'm going to paint on the copy. Because as much as I love it, I still want to keep a page like this, the way that it is. Because I am going to proceed with some of the how do I say it? Like, I'm going to learn, study, figure out, I don't know. I'm going to take a stab at some digital coloring and stuff like that. And so I'm going to use some of the original pieces like this one to do that with when I get to that. So I'm going to leave the original alone. So I made a copy of it so that I can watercolor this. So this first panel that I'm going to do it in order, just for the sake of, whatever. This first panel is the first part of the haiku, and it's for the line that says, kiss my heart softly. Basically, it's a real simple illustrated visual of that line. It's a pair of lips in the shape of a heart. There's a woman's body, part of a woman's body in the picture. The second panel is the same close-up depiction of the couple kissing, which I thought was a great idea to incorporate it into this page because it accompanies this haiku on the full page of the full couple kissing. Then I've got my bottom panel. Now this was probably one of my favorites that I've done so far. It's one of my favorites that I've done for this project. It's one of my favorites I've done ever. I basically, and it's so cool. Oh my God, I am going to hit myself later because I can't remember her name. Shay described exactly what I did here today on her broadcast earlier today. I basically started slopping stuff down, little blue pencil marks on the page, and the page and the marks ended up drawing this. Like, this came out of nowhere. I would love to be able to tell you that I am just that brilliant, that I planned this out. Okay. But the line is while we plunge in deep. So there is one singular female form in this particular panel, but I have two birds, the heads of two birds, and they are basically in different positions around her, next to her. So that is my representation of the couple taking the plunge. Is, you know, the birds represent the couple basically. And I do have this female form. Now my female form also, it's not a traditional typical, I mean, I know it's female because that was kind of the intention, but who Lord knows what it'll look like once I've painted it. So let's just get started with that. So I hope this goes pretty good, because what I did realize before I got started on this is that my oldest son needed some supplies to decorate his graduation cap. And I didn't really forget, but he came over not too long ago because he needed stuff for that. And so I don't have my favorite brushes. I don't have the ones that are like my super favorite. So we'll see how this goes. I do have the brushes I have, and I'm going to use the brushes I have, but we'll see. Oh, that's too wet. We will see how far I get with these brushes, because I did, you know, I love my kid. My kid gets everything. You know, I will feed my children before I eat, or I won't eat. You know, it's just the way it is. If you're a parent, you get that. You totally get it. So yeah, so doing this without the brushes I gave him might be challenging for me, but we will see. We will see. He was a little busy today with his graduation party I went to before this, and had dinner there. So he's wasn't going to bug him for brushes. Eventually I will buy more. I've been saying that probably, I don't know, I've said it now more times than I know. Uh-oh. I'm like, what color am I using here? If you've never worked with watercolors, one of my favorite things about them is how forgiving they can be. If you, like I just did, I used a color that was not the color I was intending to use, which is fine. I hear an echo, and I think it's probably the way I have my mic stuff going. I don't know if you're watching and you're willing to let me know if the audio sounds good for you, that would be great. Because I hear an echo. So yeah, so when I say watercolors are forgiving, what I mean is that when I realized I had the wrong color, I just went to the other color, and I'm going to probably do more than one coat, or one more than one layer, depending on the area, especially an area this big. When I get into some of the other, like especially the bottom panel, I won't have such a large area to cover here. I'm doing this particular section right now, for example, and I've already gone through 2 different brushes, and I already can tell you I don't like either one of them. I am so super picky. I have all kinds of brushes. I'm telling you, I literally have all kinds of brushes. And the 4 brushes or 5 brushes or whatever that I gave my son are probably the ones I use all the time. like for everything. Yeah. Maybe this is, you know, the universe of creative life's way of telling me to learn how to use other brushes and, you know, be challenged by it and not let it get to me and figure out a way around it. That, I got that. I got that skill. I'll be like, how do I do this or accomplish that? You know, I'm either going to find a shortcut. I'm going to find an, you know, a inexpensive way of doing something. That's for sure. And I'm definitely going to try to do it as good as I can and stay authentic. Because I can't do anything that's not me. I can't do anything that's not authentically me. That would not be okay. So I have like, I don't know, three or four shades of red in this palette of my watercolors. And I'm trying to decide something here. See, I knew this would probably happen. And that's, I want to do this. This happened the other day with the other piece. I had a few areas that once I started putting paint down, the eyes saw something different and wanted to do something different. So, not the first time that I would stop and do that and change it. There we go. That is so weird. Mute. I don't know. I think I might have just fixed whatever was going on. I don't hear an echo anymore. So hopefully the audio was working for you guys. It says it is, so I hope it's okay. It was so cool too. The long before I started even coming on here, the first time I ever was live and let anyone see me do any kind of painting or art or anything that I do was on Mother's Day. And that wasn't that long ago. Mother's Day was just last month. And I've come on here and done quite a bit since and let quite a bit of what I do seen. And that's really cool. And a lot of that nervousness and fear that I had about this, showing this process to people, some of it has just been completely dispelled, and it's not here anymore. I don't have the fear. Some of it is still very fresh right here. Same kind of thing that I got to push through every time I hit go live to do this. I can go live for almost everything else I do in my creative endeavors. But this is the one that gets me. It gets me at a level that's a whole different thing. It just is. It's a whole different thing. So one of the things that was kind of a stressor about doing this was, the subjective opinions or objective opinions. I'm not even sure which it would even be considered, but the way that some people would see a piece or see a drawing or see something, and they have their own opinion about what it should look like, what it should be, whether it should have colors, whether it should have this, whether it should have that. And I don't mind the feedback. I do not mind that feedback. What I don't appreciate ever is when someone has a comment or says a comment and has never obviously based on what they've said, and I'm not going to give details, they clearly haven't paid attention to my work. They clearly have not paid attention to who I am or what I do. And I can usually tell. I can usually tell based on something someone has said. And I, I try to be kind and just smile instead of like, saying what I really want to say. I'm trying my best at that. So that is still there. Like that concern is still with me. But again, it's not as bad as it was before. The thing I know, this particular page, now I can't speak for what's going to happen when I get to the other panels. At first, I thought it would bother me to have 3 different pieces of art kind of going on the same page here, like especially the way that I'm just not the same, but I'm digging that. And luckily, the first one I did, I had sketched both of them. I had inked both of them online live, but I did the painting part of the other page offline because, well, one, I had never done these before like this, and so I wasn't even sure I was going to like it. And why bother if I'm not even going to like it? So that's why you're getting to see this, because I did. Not only did I like it, I decided, I'm probably going to do them all like this, very similar to this. One of the things I did do after I finished all of the filling it in and watercoloring that other page, I did have to go back with black paint and redo some of the lines of the actual panel border lines, because I wasn't paying that much attention to being exact, and I don't really want it to be exact. I don't really need it to be exact. Oh my God, I did some pages for my other book for the This Is Not Emotional Burlesque. I have some pages ready to go for me to pencil, and 2 of them I'm not going to do live because they are nudes. And then the other one, I might do that one live. I might do that one tomorrow. I haven't decided. It depends on where I get with this. So after I get this painted, I will have 2 done for this particular book. And that means I'll have 8 more of these that I want to do. Do I have to do them? No. I am the boss. So if I decided to change my mind and not do them, I would just have to have a conversation with me. I know. I crack myself up. But so far, for now, that's the plan. The plan is to, in addition to the singular art pages that I did for each haiku, I'm going to also do a sequential art page like this one for each haiku. And it's kind of cool. It's actually it was a great idea. When I was already thinking about illustrating one book, had thought about it for a while, and then after it was, I don't know, when I got to this whole point of this, like doing the haiku, I was like, oh my God, I'm kind of still in awe of how great of an idea it was. Because even if someone's not a poet, even if they don't like poetry, the idea, like the whole thing about, haikus are very simple. They're 3 lines. They're 5-7-5. They're perfect to do a single page poetry panel. And I've been Googling. I can't remember any of the names, but there's a few graphic novelists out there that do graphic comic books and graphic novels with their poetry. I have them saved. I have a couple of their books in my my wish list. My shop. I need to win the lottery or something tomorrow, because my wish list of stuff I've got in there to buy it's growing. Like every day I'm adding someone's book to it, or I'm adding something to ticker for myself. You know, basically books, comic books, stuff like that, art. It's become this part of my budget. Like I have to actually, like literally, I'm not even thinking about it. It's not really a decision. It's just already been made. Like there's a certain amount of it that's just going to have to go to that because I'm just going to want those things. Similar to when I was working on the spoken word poetry process, that new avenue that I had never really gotten into before. I'd never really done it before. I do what I do. I go find the experts, and then I get the experts, and I look at what they're doing, how they're doing it. But then I have to be authentic. I can't do anything exactly like anybody else. But I do need to know basics. What do you call that stuff? The logistics of it. Like, what does that even look like? Like, I didn't even know terms like panel or sequential art or any of that. I didn't know what that. I did not have those terms in my vocabulary. Just even learning the vocabulary was kind of like a necessity. I needed to even go. I needed to look up a glossary of terms for what you would do if you do like graphic illustration series or graphic illustration work. Those kinds of art, creative art. And it's kind of cool because I got back, I haven't even talked about this really, but this whole process of doing these got me taking pictures. And I was a photographer. No, I should say am. I'm a photographer that stopped taking pictures. I started painting what was in here, and I haven't set out as a photographer with the intention of taking photos as a photographer in a very long time. I hadn't done that in it's probably been over a decade at least since I was a photographer, and like in the sense that that's what I actually did. And so I have been doing that. I've been taking pictures of things. When I was out yesterday, out and about, I took pictures of things that I want to envision either a painting from it. I'm going to either use those photos as a photo, as a painting, or for a painting for point of reference, or I'm going to, create a photo illustration or something to do with them. I don't know what I'm going to do. All I know is it was kind of cool. It was pretty exciting that this whole thing has taken me down that road again. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. So that was really cool. I keep telling myself to just go ahead and do the lips that are in the center. But every time I go to the palette and get paint on my brush or my whatever, it wants me to do everything around it, I think. I think basically that's the point, is that for some reason it's not there yet. Like I don't know exactly yet what I want that to be. And I think I'm going to have to see what I'm going to do around it first. So there you go. No rhyme or reason to the order of how paint gets put down. That's for sure. I don't plan that at all. It's funny. I have a really good friend who does paint by number paintings, and they're gorgeous. Like I've seen her finished paintings, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. And I love that she does that because, however, if you're listening or if you watch this later, if you feel like you can't do art, then, you need to tell yourself that's not true, because it may not be the same, or it may not be fine art, or may not be authentically originals or whatever. it doesn't mean that it's not art. Because her pieces, some of them I can't tell. I can't tell that she used a paint by numbers thing. I mean, other than the fact that clearly it's from a kit, and her piece is probably the same as whoever else out there has one or did one and painted one. But so who cares, you know? I mean, these that I'm doing are originals, and what's cool about what I'm going to be doing when I get to the part of when I get them done and they're created, and then I start doing the work to put the manuscripts together, I'm going to each issue of these haiku series that I'm going to do is going to have a coloring version. So there's going to be the version that's full color of representation of the work, of the art and the poetry, but a total exact duplicate edition where it's going to be this for whoever wants one of those, and they can sit and do what I'm doing if they want. They can color it how they want. They can make it however they want. And that came to me. I didn't plan it that way. That wasn't my intent when I started doing this whole idea about. I was already working on a coloring book, but that was with some of my art from last year, or from the art done over the last 6 years. Well, actually 3 decades if you really want to get technical. But anyway. It's interesting what I see when I'm looking at the screen as opposed to what's in front of me, and how different it can be perceived. Very different. It's a good way for me to see where I need a darker color, where I might need a lighter color, where the contrast is or isn't what I want it to be, and maybe I need to add something. That's cool. For example, I have green over there, and don't ask me why this green wanted to be in the painting. I don't know. This particular color, it just came to me. I don't know. None of that stuff has a plan. Sometimes, once in a blue moon, I might be planning. But that is very rare. That is very, very rare. So the line is kiss my heart softly. Kiss my heart softly. Kiss my heart softly. We're going to need a lot more blue. What's the contrast to dark red, love, passion, kisses? What's the contrast? The contrast for me is going to be something blue, something ice, something cold. And even though the line says kiss my heart softly, that's kind of goes along the lines of a kiss is you would, okay, it can be, I don't know, a kiss can be a bunch of different things. It can be soft, it can be hard, it can be mean, it can be very sweet, it can be so sexual, so passionate, it can hurt, it can be super blissful, it could be all kinds of it could be squirmy, weird, it can be gicky and especially if someone doesn't know how to kiss. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But I don't know, the blue came to me. I mentioned this earlier. I didn't know what I was going to use. But the blue came to me when I was looking at the line and I saw this word softly. And I wanted them, this is what came to me. That's what came to me. So there. And I'm going to put enough on here to come back over. And yes, so like watercolors on paper, it's going to make the paper crinkly like it's doing. I don't know if you can see something like that on the camera. It's fine if you can't, really. But it is not going to matter much because these are painted pages I'm doing to turn into digital gradual, or what do you call it, graphic illustrations. I will put them on the computer, play with the contrast, the color brightness, the color whatever, all the different settings of the photo, and that's what'll go in the book. It's funny, I thought I was gonna use these like apps that distort it or cartoon them, and those are fun. I've been playing with that. They're fun, but when I did the single photo art pages, the single art paintings for the book, I was happy with just editing a few of the features like the brightness or the contrast and stuff like that. I didn't really have to do much to make them look like I wanted them to look for the book. So that was cool. I wouldn't be shocked if I get my acrylics out for one of these when I do the next round of pages. When I get another set of pages done, I'll be like, okay, well, we know what watercolors will look like. We know how that's going to come down on the paper. We know how that's going to look. What would it look like if I let me just go over here and use some acrylics. I mean, I dabble in all the mediums. I don't really limit myself, although I had limited myself by never having done oil. And as some people that follow me know, I'm working on my first oil painting, and it's okay. It's all right. It's been all right. Whether I do an oil painting after I'm done with it, that is still to be determined. Very much so. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever do one after I'm done with the one I'm doing. I really don't. I don't know. I kind of have a love-hate thing going on with it right now. First, it was too light, and then it was too dark, and then it was way too light. Now it's, in my opinion, way too dark, and so I left again. I thought I was going to be done with it when I painted it last time. Definitely not done, because it needs some work. Definitely needs some work. So when I do get to the end of this, and I already know I will have to, I'm going to go back through this and clean up some of the black lines. I'll probably do that all at the end after I'm done all 3 panels. Just so the paint, I mean, watercolor is super, super forgiving, and painting the black to touch up the lines, that's not going to be difficult. That won't be hard at all. But I will wait until the whole page is done, simply just for that it's dry and that I don't smear anything or whatever. Okay, so now this is the part where I look at this and go, I wish I had the brush, this one wedge brush I gave my son. Because I'm like, what am I going to use for her and him? And there this big space in the middle of the painting, and I gotta get. So what do you do when your watercolor palette thing gets dirty? You've got to clean it with some fresh, clean water and make sure nothing is on there, because and again, it's fine if it's not exactly what you want, because it's watercolors. You can go back over it. You can darken it. You can use a different color. They're pretty forgiving. Except for when they leave little hairbrush marks in your work, and you're like, damn it, I need you to go away. There we go. Come here. Oh my God. Really? I think I'm going to get very, very basic. Pink and blue. Pink is for girls, blue is for boys. Old school. I like that the original of this with the full depiction of the lovers, you can see their entire face. And then I love like that you come over to this page and they're there, but it's just the lips part of it because that's, you know, that's what the haiku is about. It's about kissing. It's kind of an important part of relationships. Yes, I do believe that. So I got way basic and I'm like, do I like this color? I think I do. I know that it'll look good. It's going to look good in the photographs, that's for sure. I'm at the point now where I've done so many of these that the whole thing about the photo and then looking at it later on the screen and then letting the photo on a screen even kind of tell me, okay, what do we need to do with this? Do we need to darken it? Do we need to brighten it? Do we want to come in with you know, an effect? Do we want to soften it? Do we want to blur it? Do we want to sharpen it? There's so many things that they're simple, basic things. And it's still the least favorite part of any of this that I'm doing. It really is. I work on computers. I work on my computer all day for my day job. And even though that's not an artistic endeavor type of thing, by the time I'm done with that, I don't want to be on a computer. Most of what I do creatively, and ironically, I write poetry, but most of that stuff, I do that so fast on the fly when I write a poem. I mean, it doesn't take very long. The only time it takes time, like serious time to write a poem is when I go back. Actually, really, it's more about editing. When I go back and I'm doing the full-fledged line by line, read it out loud type of review of the poems, that takes longer than writing them sometimes. Especially after the one I just produced, the last poetry album I did, book, it's everything. Album, book, all of the above. I did the whole thing. It's the first one I did the whole gambit for. There's a book, there's an album, there's a whole video playlist, everything. They're all done. Definitely taught me the valuable lesson that a lot of the poem needs to be said out loud before I make a final decision about what's going to get printed or what's going to get published, because speaking them out loud, most of the time it just either reiterated or reassured me I liked what I wrote, or some of it I totally rewrote. I would change the entire, not entire poem, but it changed a lot about the poems by having done that. And I love that. That's a practice I'm probably going to, not probably, that will probably it will stick around in my process for sure. Similar to this whole thing about taking a picture of my pieces every phase, whatever phase I am in, whether it's the sketch, even on the canvas, at whatever phase I'm at, I've been really good about taking pictures of that stuff now. And I will always probably do that now because I've gotten so much out of it. I've given myself this time to sit back, look at it, especially if it's in process, if it's not done yet. And I can take my time, sit back, take a look at it, let myself marinate on it, see if I like it, and then come back to it. And I'm either going to leave it the way that it is, or I'm going to do something different. Something will come to me different, you know? Similar to the first panel on the other page, I had done it one way. I had one little real simple imagery going on up there, and woke up and knew I needed to do something different in that panel, and that's what I did. I ended up doing something totally different. So I'm gonna come back in there. No, that's way too dark. Da 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 do. I don't know why I just paused and stared at the screen like that, but probably because I'm excited about what I'm about to do. Because this is just one of those things. I've done this in a few of my paintings, and I'm going to do it in this one. Contrast. Do, 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 do. I kind of like it. That's it. It's the right one. Took me a minute. I'm like, is that the right one for her to match him? That's funny. That's actually not a part of his lip right there. Haha, that's funny, Dory. And technically, he doesn't really have much of an upper lip, but yeah, it's okay. We're going to go in here. Because now I'm going to go here. Oh, shit. I might not have black. I gave my son all these different shades of black I had. I don't know if I kept any. Well, we will find out. We will see just how far the black in my palette will last. Or I'll use a dark blue. Because if all I'm really doing is touching up and cleaning up lines, it doesn't have to be black. It can be brown. It can be blue. It can be purple. It could be any color. As long as I clean the line up and get it in there. That's not the fun. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Now I can go back to this color I want over here. That's so weird. Okay. It's there. I'm here. If you're watching, I'm just playing with hair. I like doing hair. It's like spaghetti. Sometimes. Most of my girls' hair and stuff I draw is curly. I like curls. I like that. Okay. Oh my gosh. What will I do down below? Now, that should be pretty interesting. I know one thing I'm going to do is give myself my birds' heads. I'm going to do my birds' heads first. My bird's head had a hole in it. Okay. Now, my birds' heads are part or top of a wave. So, what do I want? I want this guy first. Crinkly paper. Crinkly paper. So many shades of blue. That had way, way, way too much water. And I had to dab it off with a rag. Thank God this is watercolors. I'm just saying. I didn't always think that about them. I didn't always like them. It took me a long time to get to a point where I was like, you know what? I actually like these watercolors. I used to complain about watercolors the way I complain about oil paint. Have I ever complained about acrylics? Let me see. Kind of. Maybe. Not really. But I think that's just what comes with it. You know, it's like, for me, especially when I'm doing something with a new medium for the first time. Son of a bitch. How do I keep doing that? It's the second time I've done that. I love my son, but this is because I'm using the brushes that are not my favorite. I'm telling you, I'm like, it's more than what I would expect, or it's not getting it on there the way that I would want, or I'm like, oh my God, it's this brushes. It's because I'm using brushes I'm not used to. It's okay. It's okay. It's working so far. Wonder what I will watch tonight. I wonder what my night movie will be. I don't know who that is that's watching, but I need a movie suggestion for tonight. So what would be a good movie for me to watch? I have been binging romance movies. Not chick flicks necessarily. I wouldn't call them that. Probably the more dramatic kind. I guess some of them have been stupid chick flicks, but not that that's stupid. There's nothing wrong with them, but they're good, they're okay, but I normally like cerebral sci-fis, that kind of stuff. So yeah. Can throw a suggestion down there in the thing for me. That would be appreciated.
I wonder where everybody is. Everyone's, I think there was other people live when I went live.
Where am I at on time? Okay, perfect. I will finish this and I'll be done. That's about timing wise. I thought it would. That's about right. I might do the black part where I go back through this and clean it up with black. I'll probably do that offline. That, and I think looking at my palette, I'm probably going to have to do some hunting for to make sure I've got enough black to do that. And I'm sure I've got everything I could possibly need. I just, this particular palette, this watercolor palette I'm using over here doesn't have a lot of black on it. Clearly, I use black a lot. Duh, no shock, no surprise. This is not surprising, at least not to me. Okay, so okay, I've got to make sure that because over here I don't have a lot going on, but I definitely have part of her. And I want to make sure I don't paint part of her with this blue. I mean, not that that would be the end of the world, but she is not going to be blue. Wouldn't be anything wrong with painting her blue. That's just not the plan. Not that there's a plan, really. Yeah, I think I'm gonna definitely go back through this and do the lines, the black, to basically it's just a matter of going in a few of the places where the paint went over the lines and just re-blacking that stuff, which is not that hard to do. And I don't have to do a lot of it because I'm fine with it being over it in certain areas. It doesn't have to be perfect. Because when I do the contrast, when I get into there, two of the settings in pictures that I love messing with or playing with or using is the brightness, vividness, or whatever you call it, and contrast. Contrast and bright can often do what I want to a photo of a painting in order for it to be in one of my books without having to do a whole hell of a lot more to it. Because contrast will help, turn the lines into something more defined. Sharpen's another one. Especially sharpening an image, taking one of my painting photos, a photo of my paintings, and taking it and cranking that sharpen all the way up. It does definitely help
with making the separation of the lines, or the lines wherever those lines are, very, 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 very prominent. It's very rare I make anything look blurry. I'm not a fan of that. I do have one piece in this book that I did leave it a little blurry, and only, it's so weird. I think it's because, to me, that particular page, the haiku, the photo, or the painting that I did for it, it all kind of reminded me of an old school advertisement, like in a magazine. What do I want there? I want a darker color. That's what I want. So, yeah, so there is at least one. Oh, and then I think the one with the kids and this father-son, I think I put a little bit of a glow kind of softness to it. That definitely made sense when I was doing the editing. I like that one. I almost have the images for that sequential page in my mind, what I'm going to do for that particular haiku, the one about children laughing. I have it now that I've decided to do these pages. I'm thinking about the haikus throughout the course of my day, or when I'm doing other stuff, and vivid images or ideas come to me about them, so that when I sit down to do those pages, when I sketch them out, I have a few things in mind. I do. I know one of them, I may actually use a different idea to do the sequential pieces. I might actually use photographs, because I've been doing so much photography and playing in my photography world. I might actually use photos and manipulation of those photos to do a sequential page for one of the haikus, and not actually sketch a painting. And that would be typical Dory. Like, if you, like my best friend would probably say that sounds so much like you. To start a project seemingly simple and turn it into this complicated mirage, or myriad is a better, I don't know if mirage I don't even know what mirage means. I'm going to have to look that up. Yeah, she would laugh, because that would be so me, to take a simple idea, one simple thing, one project in one way, and turn it into this entire different concept. Not necessarily, actually different is probably not the right word, but fuzzy butt gaming, seeing something that isn't here, isn't there. I'm thinking about, what did I say? Oh, like, was that? I don't know what that means. You'll have to elaborate. Was I talking about something that made you comment that? Probably. I don't know. I have a Twitch viewer. Welcome. A mirage is a naturally occurring optical phenomenon in which light rays bend via refraction to produce a displaced image of distant objects or the sky. Oh, that's rad. That's so rad, because, like, oh my God, like, I was just saying earlier, when I first started talking about this is a sequential panel piece for a haiku series book I'm working on. And this particular piece, or this panel that you see me painting right now, actually, I literally had nothing in mind. I kind of knew I wanted to do something that would represent water. And so I kind of started drawing just lines that would look like water, or lines that would look like waves. But this image of a woman with these two birds in kind of a form of waves, that literally came out of nowhere. It came out of
what I saw on the page, whether it was the shading or the light, the way the light hit the page, that's what brought this image out of me. So mirage is cool. That definition. Nice. Thank you. That definition. Thank you for putting that in comments. That was really cool. Thank you, because that's exactly what this image down here, this particular haiku representation image, it's definitely came from a mirage. It came from this thing I do with the paper, and I do that sometimes even with canvas. The actual way the light hits the canvas will actually get me to do a piece a certain way, with certain colors, with certain shapes, with certain whatevers. A lot of that is in my paintings, especially considering that I don't do a lot of planning for some of them. I have maybe kind of an idea of something when I get, when I start to do them. Every once in a while, well, actually I should say maybe about half the time I might use a point of reference. I'll use a photograph of something I like or similar to something I like. Like this couple kissing came from a photograph. That my point of reference was a photograph, and I don't mind. I get those ideas from all over the place like that. But this one down here literally just came straight from what came out of me on the paper with the shading and the lighting. It was definitely a true mirage. I like that. The longer I've done this, or the more I share this, the more I share my work with other people that don't know me, the more I actually am getting kind of even to understand my own work and where it comes from, or what I'm doing, because I've gotten so good at not following anyone's rules or dictates that I often don't even know what to call the way I do something. And it's not like I do anything brand new, like no one's ever done it before, because that's actually the exact opposite. I couldn't have told them how much some of what I do is influenced by stained glass windows. Like that, I didn't even realize that until, I want to say, maybe a year or two after I finally started letting people look at my paintings. I don't even remember how. I think someone said it to me, actually. And I stepped back from that comment that one day, and I wish I could remember who it was that said it, because I remember stepping back and going, that is a good point. A lot of my paintings, the ones I do, the bigger ones I've done on paper or on canvas, oh my God, there's so much influence of what stained glass windows did for me as a kid growing up in Louisiana with the churches, and they were soothing, they were comfortable. It didn't even matter to me what the images were in the painting, in the windows. All I know is that I love the colors. I love the way the light hit them. I love the black, even the black lines that would strongly, drastically separate the two parts or compartments of the colors. I love everything. I just love everything about stained glass windows. Everything that there is to love about them. So yeah, stained glass windows definitely a huge influence. I think I want to do one more over here, pink. So yeah, so the other one I did that I finished and painted and then took some photos of. I took a photo, of course. I took a regular high resolution color image, left it alone, made a duplicate so that I could play with it, because I've learned the hard way to when I start playing with some of these apps or start playing with some of the contrast, or even just changing the brilliant brightness on whatever. I've made the mistake of overwriting the photograph, and then I have to take another picture. Oh my God, and God forbid, or I do more work on the piece, and then now I don't have that picture of that particular step anymore. That kind of sucks. What's going to be really cool is when I come back in here and I redo the details on her hair.
on that side. That should be pretty cool. My girl. Having so much fun. It's actually pretty fun. Whoa, what is that? Something weird on my brush. Can't let that come on the painting. Oh, man. What time is it? Okay. 6:57. Hour. Oh, God. I didn't think it would take me this long to paint this, but what the fuck did I just do? Yes. If, I could never have done what I just did. I could never have done that. Well, maybe I could have. With an acrylic or oil, depending on how dry the paint would be. I don't know what that was on the brush. It was like a dry piece of the paint that came probably off the side of my palette. And it was on a different, I had to wipe it away. And it didn't hurt anything. It didn't ruin anything because what was there was dry, and just the light swipe didn't hurt anything. But oh my God, on an oil painting, some of the time, like I think one of the things, because I'm doing my first oil, so I'm doing my first oil painting, and one of the frustrating things for me is learning what to do when I make a mistake. And I'm going to make mistakes, especially with a medium that I've never worked with before. That's just what's going to happen. That's just normal. That's just totally normal. It's to be expected. So some of what I've had to do with that process is learn, well, how do I fix a situation when I mess up or do something different or do something that I should have done different, whatever it is, whatever it may be. So that's been part of the process. It's probably why that oil painting, not to mention that it's the first oil painting I've ever done. It's probably going to be the painting that took me the longest to finish, except for maybe pink. I can't remember how long I worked on pink, but she took a long time. She was huge. She was my biggest piece. That's part of why she took so long. So yeah. All I know is I mean, man, like, it's nothing. It's really no amount of time when you think about how much time some of the masters spent on some of their masterpieces. The amount of time it takes to do any of this is really not that much when you consider how long it could take, depending on the technique or who's doing it, that kind of thing. What gave me the idea for this, to watercolor these, was I actually came quite by accident. I came upon some practice pieces I had done for a class, one of these online virtual classes I had done about working on florals and learning how to do florals. And I had done these 3 paintings last year, and they were just watercolors I did on paper, because it didn't have to be, I didn't want to, use up canvases for practice and for a class. And so I was doing these paintings on paper, just like this. And I came across them when I was cleaning out everything to find, I was looking for some of my art stuff, and I came across them. And then, so this whole thing where I'm technically any piece is a masterpiece. Oh, love that. I'm so on board with that. I will totally high five you on that statement. My name, my company name when it comes to art is called Labors of Love, because I didn't like calling any of this work, because for me this isn't really work. Like, this is the most fun, other than maybe spending time with my kids. This is the most fun I'm going to have this week, is painting, coloring, painting, sketching, you name it, writing and poetry. It doesn't matter. And for me, Labors of Love, the reason I called it that was because that's exactly what each of these are for me. Every single one of them has like this love story involved, or I'm in love with the piece. Oh my God, this original fuzzy butt gaming. This is the singular piece that matches the same haiku that this piece I'm painting is for. So this is the lovers that are in the middle of this painting. And so they both depict a haiku, and it's for a haiku comic, a graphic illustrated series, haiku series poetry book. There's going to be, each book's going to have 10 haikus, 10 matching singular art pieces, and 10 sequential story pages like what you're looking at. This particular page is the sequential story artwork page for that same haiku. The haiku is, "Kiss my heart softly with your delicious lips kiss, while we plunge in deep." So that's the haiku. This first, let me turn it, it's upside down. So this first panel is the panel that conveys the "kiss my heart softly." The basically is a take on a pair of lips in the shape of a heart, and there's a human body part here, and there's some other, mostly it's very simple. The top panel is very simple. Then of course we've got our couples kissing for the part with where it goes, "with your delicious lips kiss," and then down at the bottom we have our singular female body lady, and she's diving. She's upside down actually for that particular piece, for that panel. When you're looking at it up as upright, she's upside down, and then there's these 2 bird heads that are in waves. The bird heads are the top crests of the waves, and they represent the plunging in deep together and plunging into the love together. And so yeah, so I have laid out the color, and I am going to, let's see, well, I'm not going anywhere. I don't mind. I'm going to come in here, maybe bring this down a little bit more. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back through here with black and kind of clean up some of the areas where I went in and killed some of, or took away some of the definition of some of these pieces, like the bird's heads, for example. It's one of the things I like about this, having decided to do the watercolors like this. What you see me doing right now with black paint, I would be doing, if I were doing a piece with the markers, I would probably do the same thing, but only with a black marker. It basically is redrawing the lines that were there, which actually in some cases make it a very much more interesting piece to do that than if I had bothered to be super precise when I was painting. It would have been fine, but in a lot of ways doing this, it does make it, I've noticed that I like the way it looks. I like the way it ends up looking, is what I guess I should say. And I just want to do one of the bird's heads so that at the end of the video, for anyone who might watch later, they can at least see what the hell did she just do. Because if you look at this bird over here, you're like, wow, that's really, wait, where did he go? That bird. It's all sloppy. You almost can't even tell he's a bird. You're like, what is that over there? And I might actually, for this part, I might actually get my black acrylics out. I have, because doing what I'm doing right now, it might be better to do this with an acrylic, because black watercolor is fine, but sometimes it's not black enough, and depending on how strong of a black line I want in the piece to separate the colors, I might have to whip out the acrylics. I might have to whip out the black acrylic, because the color will be consistent. There's no doubt that the color will be consistent because it's acrylic. Watercolor is very dependent upon my skill and what I do when it comes time to put water to add to the watercolor. And I don't like making it ahead of time. I use a palette with a cup of water. I love the way this is looking over here. This bird's head is, I'm digging it. I'm digging it. As long as what I can, when I get done, if I can look at it and go, yep, I like that, I know I'm good. I'm done. I don't have to go much further. I don't have to ask myself if others are gonna like it. If I'm happy with it, I can usually just walk away and I'm satisfied. Yeah. So where to go? Yep. There's my bird head, and that's basically. Let me see. The blacking. That's what I'm gonna do next, and I'm gonna probably go offline and do most of that offline. I'm gonna go back through these 3 panels and add the blacks back. Just segregate it and separate it out. And yeah, there you go. That is a second page fully colored and ready for the next steps in the process. And I just have 8 more to go. So I will be back. So hopefully if you got to see this, if you're still there, hi. Okay, yeah, you're still there. Yay! Yeah, make sure to follow and subscribe so that you don't miss future ones. And I try to only stay on an hour, but sometimes I go over. It happens. It's all new. This whole me doing any of this online is all new. So I like the encouragement. The encouragement helps me hearing people say they like watching me do what I'm doing or catching art done this way, it reassures me that it actually is a good thing to come on here and share this process with people. So I am going to go offline for the day. Bye. Have a great rest of your day.